We're continuing with The Diary of a Wimpy Kid by Jeff Kinney. This would be the fourth part, but it's the third because the first one got accidentally deleted, so we may redo that one. This is where we left off. It was a hit and run by the Worley Street Kids, page 164. And if Mrs. Levine, my English teacher, was there, I'm sure she would have said the whole situation was ironic. So their neighborhood kids of the next neighborhood over came and are sledding on the fresh snow of the hill that's next to their houses. So they're just they were planning on throwing a big snowball, rolling a snowball at them when they go downhill and prank them, but their snowball got destroyed because of the at the hand of the dad who broke the snowball and with his shovel because he broke the snowman of his brother to pieces. He kicked it, so he got punished by his dad. And his own snowman in progress got destroyed also. So these kids come at that time, and they're not able to prank them anymore. And then these kids are the ones who snowball them. So it's like the opposite happens, and that's why it's ironic. Today at school, they announced, it was Wednesday, there's an opening for the cartoonist job in the school paper. There's only one comic slot, and up until now, this kid named Brian Little has been hogging it all to himself. Wacky Dog by Brian Little. Hey, Wacky Dog, say something funny. Actually, I have something serious on my mind today. Susan Lim, if you're reading this, Brian is very sorry he kissed your best friend Rachel behind the lockers. He hopes you can find it in your heart to forgive him. P.S. Barry Palmer, you still owe Brian $5. You bum. Brian has this comic called Wacky Dog, and when it started off, it was actually pretty funny. But lately, Brian's been using his strip to handle his personal business. I guess that's why they gave him the axe. As soon as I heard the news, I knew I had to try out. Wacky Dog made Brian Little a celebrity at our school, and I wanted to get in on some of that kind of fame. I had a taste of what it's like to be famous at my school when I won honorable mention in this anti-smoking contest they had. All I did was trace a picture from one of Roderick's heavy metal magazines, but luckily no one ever found out. Don't smoke or you look like me. The kid who won first place is named Chris Carney, and what kind of ticks me off is that Chris smokes at least a pack of cigarettes a day. Don't smoke is a joke. There's a wise owl in my girlfriend's place. Thursday. Me and Rowley decided to team up and do a cartoon together. So after school, he came over to my house and we got to work. We banged out a bunch of characters real quick, but that turned out to be the easy part. When we tried to think up some jokes, we kind of hit a wall. I finally came up with a good solution. I made up a cartoon where the punchline of every strip is "Zoo-wee, mama." That way we wouldn't get bogged down with having to write actual jokes, and we would concentrate on the pictures. For the first couple of strips, I did the writing and drew the characters, and Riley drew the boxes around the pictures. Oh, wow. Step on a crack. Break your mama's back. Yeah, right. Hey, Timmy. Your mother slipped on a banana peel, and P.S. she is dead. Oh my god. Zoo-wee, mama. Riley started complaining that he didn't have enough to do. I let him write a few of the strips, but to be honest with you, there was a pretty obvious drop in quality once Riley started doing the writing. I have been waiting 3 hours to get a hamburger. Finally, 1 hamburger, please. I'm sorry, sir. We are all sold out. That's pretty funny. Thanks. Zoo-wee, mama. Eventually, I got kind of sick of the zoo-wee mama idea, and I pretty much let Riley take over the whole operation. And believe it or not, Riley's drawing skills are worse than his writing skills. Oops, I stepped in a puddle. That's a squirrel, by the way. At least it's not an acid puddle. Ay, it is an acid puddle. Oh, that's totally funny. I told Riley maybe we should come up with some new ideas, but he just wanted to keep writing Zoo-wee mamas. Zoo-wee mama. Then he packed up his comics and went home, which was fine by me. I don't really want to be partnered up with a kid who doesn't draw noses anyway. Friday, after Riley left yesterday, I really got to work on some comics. I came up with this character called Cretin the Cretin, and I got on a roll. Cretin the Cretin by Greg Heffley. Hey, my name is Cretin. No, it isn't. Your name is Stuart P. Oops, hi. My name, I'm Stu P. Har. Oh, 'cause he's stupid? Stuart. I must have banged out 20 strips and I didn't even break a sweat. I wonder what is in this cute little box. That's not a box, it's a brick, you dumb moron. Oops, I have been trying to open it all day. Doctor, could I have a new butt? My old one has a crack in it. Cretin, I told you 1,000,000 times, everyone's butt has a crack in it. Oh yeah, I forgot. The great thing about Cretin the Cretin is that with all the idiots running around my school, I will never run out of new material. When I got to school today, I took my comics to Mr. Ira's office. He's the teacher who runs the school newspaper. But when I went to turn my strips in, I saw that there was a pile of comics from other kids who were trying out for the job. Most of them were pretty bad, so I wasn't too worried about the competition. Girls ruled by Tabitha Cutter and Lisa Russell. Don't walk near our lunch table, Tyler Green. Yeah, you're not even cute. Ha 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 ha. Trip. Girls run. Extreme skaters. I'm gonna do this rad jump. Yo, dude, watch out for that telephone wire. Whatever. Here I go. Slice. Darn. And he talks. Ouch. Long. I sure am glad I wore my helmet. Damn. One of the comics was called Dumb Teachers, and it was written by this kid named Bill Tripp. So, Bill is always in detention, so I guess he has a bone to pick with just about every teacher in the school, including Mr. Ira. So I'm not too worried about the chances of Bill's comic getting in, either. Hey, Mr. Ira, you pooped your pants again. Nuh-uh. Yeah. There were actually one or two decent comics in the bin, but I slipped them under a pile of paperwork on Mr. Ira's desk. Hopefully those ones won't turn up until I'm in high school. Yeah, he has to read the paperwork. Thursday, today during morning announcements, I got the news I was hoping for. And the new cartoonist for the school paper is drumroll, Greg Heffley. The paper came out today at lunchtime and everyone was reading it. I really wanted to pick up a copy to see my name in print, but I decided to just play it cool for a while instead. I sat at the end of the lunch table, so there would be plenty of room for me to start signing autographs for my new fans. But nobody was coming over to tell me how great my comic was, and I started to get the feeling something was wrong. I grabbed the paper and went into the bathroom to check it out, and when I saw my comic, I practically had a heart attack. Mr. Ira told me he had made some minor edits to my comic. I thought he just meant he fixed spelling mistakes and stuff like that, but he totally butchered it. The comic he ruined was one of my favorite ones, too. In the original, Cream the Kitten is taking a math test and he accidentally eats it. And then the teacher yells at him for being such a moron. By the time Mr. Era was done with it, you practically don't recognize it as the same strip. Cretin, the curious student, by Gregory Huffley. Teacher, if x plus 43 equals 89, then what would x be? Cretin, x would be 46. Thanks, kids. If you want to learn more about math, be sure to visit Mr. Humphrey during his office hours, or visit the library and check out the newly expanded Math and Science section. Oh dear Lord. It's horrible. So I'm pretty sure I won't be signing autographs anytime soon. Teacher's pet show. Wednesday. Me and Rowley were enjoying our hot chocolate in the cafeteria with the rest of the patrols today. And there was an announcement on the loudspeaker. Rowley Jefferson report to Mr. Winsky's office immediately. Rowley went down to Mr. Winsky's office, and when Rowley came back 15 minutes later, he looked pretty shaken up. Apparently, Mr. Winsky got a call from a parent who said they witnessed Rowley terrorizing the kindergartners when he was supposed to be walking them home from school. And Mr. Winsky was really mad about it. Okay. Rowley said Mr. Winsky yelled at him for about 10 minutes and said his actions disrespected the badge. You know, I think he might just know what this is all about. Last week, Rowley had to take a quiz during 4th period, so I walked the kindergartners home on my own. It had rained that morning, and there were a lot of worms on the sidewalk, so I decided to have some fun with the kids. But some neighborhood lady saw what I was doing, and she yelled at me from her front porch. It was Mrs. Irvine, who was friends with Rowley's mom. She must have thought I was Rowley because I was borrowing his coat. Okay. And I wasn't about to correct her either. Rowley Jefferson, the principal, is going to hear about this. Yes, ma'am. So, I forgot about the whole incident until today. Anyway, Mr. Winsky told Rowley he's going to have to apologize to the kindergartners tomorrow morning, and that he's suspended from patrols for a week. That's sad. All because he had to take a quiz. That's not his fault. So I knew I should probably just tell Mr. Winsky it was me who chased the kids with the worms. But I wasn't ready to set the record straight just yet. I knew if I confessed, I'd lose my hot chocolate privileges. And that right there was enough to make me keep quiet for the time being. At dinner tonight, Mom could tell something was bothering me. She came up to my room afterward to talk. Told her I was in a tough situation and I didn't know what to do. I got to give Mom credit for how she handled it. She didn't try to pry and get all the details. All she said was that I should try to do the right thing because they're choices that make us who we are. I figure That's pretty decent advice, but I'm still not 100% sure what I'm gonna do tomorrow. Thursday, well, I was up all night. By the way, it's March. I was up all night talking and turning over this rally situation, but I finally made up my mind. I decided the right thing to do was just to let Raleigh take one for the team this time around. I'm sorry I terrorized your children. On the way home from school, I came clean with Raleigh and told him the whole truth about what happened and how it was me who chased the kids with the worm. Then I told him there were lessons we could both learn from this. I told him I learned to be more careful about what I do in front of Mrs. Irvine's house, but he learned a valuable lesson too, which is this: be careful about who you lend your coat to. I guess this has been a learning experience for both of us. To be honest with you, my message didn't seem to be getting through to Raleigh. We were supposed to hang out after school today, but he said he was just going to go home and take a nap. I couldn't really blame him, because if I didn't have my hot chocolate this morning, I wouldn't have had much energy either. When I got home, Mom was waiting for me at the front door. Did you do the right thing? Yeah. Mom took me out to get some ice cream as a special treat. And what this whole episode has taught me is that every once in a while, it's not such a bad idea to listen to your mother. Slurp. Okay. There was another announcement on the loudspeaker today, and to be honest with you, I kind of figured this one was coming. Greg Heffley, please report to Mr. Winsky's office. I knew it was just a matter of time before I got busted for what happened last week. When I got to Mr. Winsky's office, he was really mad. Mr. Winsky told me that an anonymous source had informed him that I was the real culprit in the worm-chasing incident. Then he told me I was relieved of my safety duties, effective immediately. Well, it doesn't take a detective to figure out that the anonymous source was Raleigh. I can't believe Raleigh went and backstabbed me like that. While I was sitting there getting chewed out by Mr. Winsky, I was thinking, I need to remember to give my friend a lecture about loyalty. Later on today, Raleigh got reinstated as a patrol. And get this, he actually got a promotion. Mr. Winsky said Raleigh had exhibited dignity under false suspicion. Dignity under false suspicion. I thought about really letting Raleigh have it for ratting me out like that, but then I realized something. And how come he didn't get suspension for a week and he just got let go of the post? That's kind of being biased. So if the other kid did the same thing, he didn't get let go of the post, and he did. Anywho, I thought about really letting Raleigh have it for ratting me out like that, but then I realized something. In June, all the officers in the safety patrols go on a trip to Six Flags, and they get to take along one friend. I need to make sure Raleigh knows I'm his guy. Let me get this for you, Captain. Tuesday. Like I said before, the worst part of getting kicked off safety patrols is losing your hot chocolate privileges. Every morning I go to the back door of the cafeteria so Raleigh can hook me up. But either my friend has gone deaf or he's too busy kissing the other officers' butts to notice me at the window. Psst, tap, tap, tap. In fact, now that I think of it, Raleigh has been totally giving me the cold shoulder lately. That's really lame because if I recall correctly, he's the one that sold me out. Even though Raleigh has been a total jerk lately, I tried to break the ice with him today anyway. But even that didn't seem to work. Hi, pal. Know what he threw on him, I'm not sure. April, Friday. Ever since the worm incident, Raleigh has been hanging out with Colin Lee every day after school. What really stinks is that Colin is supposed to be my backup friend. Those guys are acting totally ridiculous. Today, Raleigh and Colin were wearing these matching t-shirts, and it made me just about want to vomit. It says best friends. After dinner tonight, I saw Raleigh and Colin walking up the hill together, chumming it up. Colin had his overnight bag, so I knew they were gonna do a sleepover at Raleigh's. And I thought, well, two can play at that game. The best way to get back at Raleigh was to get a new best friend of my own. But unfortunately, the only person who came to mind right at that moment was Fregley. I went up to Fregley's with my overnight bag so Raleigh could see I had other friend options too. Pant, pant, pant. When I got there, Fregley was in his front yard, stabbing a kite with a stick. That's when I started to think maybe this wasn't the best idea after all. But Raleigh was in his front yard, and he was watching me. So I knew there was no turning back. Me and Fregley went upstairs to his room. Fregley tried to get me to play Twister with him, so I made sure I stayed 10 feet away from him at all times. I decided that I should just pull the plug on the stupid idea and go home. But every time I looked out the window, Raleigh and Colin were still in Raleigh's yard. I didn't want to leave until those guys went back inside. But things started to get out of hand with Fregley pretty quick. When I was looking out the window, Fregley broke into my backpack and ate the whole bag of jelly beans I had in there. Fregley's one of these kids who's not supposed to eat any sugar. So 2 minutes later, he was bouncing off the walls. Fregley started acting like a total maniac, and he chased me all around his upstairs. I kept thinking he was going to come down off of his sugar high, but he didn't. Eventually, I locked myself in his bathroom to wait him out. Around 11:30, it got quiet out in the hallway. That's when Fregley slipped a piece of paper under the door. I picked it up and read it. Dear Gregory, I'm very sorry I chased you with a booger on my finger. Here, I put it on this paper so you can get me back. That's the last thing I remember before I blacked out. I came to my senses a few hours later. After I woke up, I cracked the door open and I heard snoring coming from Fragley's room, so I decided to make a run for it. Mom and Dad were not happy with me for getting them out of bed at 2 in the morning, but by that point I could really care less. Monday. Well, me and Riley have officially been ex-friends for about a month now. And to be honest with you, I'm better off without him. I'm glad I can just do whatever I want without having to worry about carrying all that dead weight around. Lately, I've been hanging out in Roderick's room after school and going through his stuff. The other day, I found one of his middle school yearbooks. Roderick wrote in everybody's picture in his yearbook, so you can tell how he felt about all the kids in his grade. Jerk, cool. Once in a while, I see Roderick's old classmates around town, and I have to remember to thank Roderick for making church a lot more interesting. Jerk. But the page in Roderick's yearbook that's really interesting is the class favorites page. That's where they put pictures of the kids who got voted most popular and most talented and all that. Roderick wrote on his class favorites page too. Nerd, Bill Watson, Kathy. You know, this class favorites thing has really got my gears turning. If you can get yourself voted into the class favorites page, you're practically an immortal. Even if you don't live up to what you got picked for. Doesn't really matter because it's on permanent record. People still treat Bill Watson like he's something special, even though he ended up dropping out. We still run into him at the food barn every once in a while. Will that be paper or plastic, ma'am? So here's what I'm thinking. This school year has been kind of a bust, but if I can get voted on a class favorite, I'll go out on a high note. I've been trying to think of a category I have a shot at. Most popular and most athletic are definitely out, so I'm going to have to find something that's a little bit more in reach. At first, I thought maybe I should wear really nice clothes for the rest of the year so I can get best dressed. But that would be mean. I would have to get my picture taken with Jenna Stewart, and she dresses like a pilgrim. Wednesday. That would mean I have to get my picture taken with a pilgrim-looking girl. Wednesday. Last night, I was lying in bed and it hit me. I should go for a class clown. It's not like I'm known for being really funny, real funny at school or anything, but if I can pull off one big prank right before voting, that could do it. Yeah, putting a thumbtack under your teacher's, that's not gonna work. You'll probably get suspended for that. It's not funny. Thursday. today I was trying to, and it's May already. I was trying to figure out how I was going to sneak a thumbtack onto Mr. Ward's chair in history when he said something that made me rethink my plan. Mr. Ward told us he has a dentist appointment tomorrow, so we're going to have a substitute. Subs are like comic gold. You can say just about anything you want and you can't get in trouble. Greg Huffley, will you please do this problem? Yo, mama. Excuse me? Your big fanny granny. Well, I hardly think that's your slap-happy grandpappy. Friday. I walked into my history class today ready to execute my plan. But when I got to the door, guess who the substitute teacher was? Hi, honey bunches. It's his mother. Of all the people in the world to be our sub today, it was my mom. Mom. I thought Mom's day of getting involved at my school were over. She used to be one of those parents who came in to help out in the classroom. But that all changed after Mom volunteered to be a chaperone for our field trip to the zoo when I was in 3rd grade. Mom had prepared all sorts of material to help us kids appreciate the different exhibits. But all anyone wanted to do was watch the animals go to the bathroom. Anyway, Mom totally foiled my plan to win class clown. I'm just lucky there's not a category called Biggest Mama's Boy, because after today, I'd win that one in a landslide. You forgot your lunch at home. Wednesday, the school paper came out again today. I quit my job as school cartoonist after Cream the Curious Student came out, and I didn't really care who they picked to replace me. But everyone was laughing at the comics page at lunch, so I picked up a copy to see what was so funny. When I opened it up, I couldn't believe my eyes. It was Zooey Mama, and of course Mr. Ear didn't change a single word of Rowley's strip. Zooey Mama by Rowley Jefferson. Hey, beautiful lady. Do you want a date with me? Want to go on a date? I am not a lady. I'm just one of those dogs with long hair, so no thanks to that date. Zooey Mama. Oh my God. So now Rowley's getting all the fame that was supposed to be mine. Will you put us in your comic? Yeah, sure. Even the teachers were kissing Riley's butt. I almost lost my lunch when Mr. Worth dropped his chalk in history class. Zooey mama. Monday. The Zooey mama thing has really got me worked up. Riley's getting all the credit for a comic that we came up with together. I figured the least he could do was put my name on the strip as the co-creator. So I went up to Riley after school and told him that's what he was gonna have to do. But Riley said Zooey mama was his idea and that I didn't have anything to do with it. I guess we must have been talking pretty loud because the next thing you knew, we attracted a crowd. Fight, 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 fight. The kids in my school are always itching to see a fight. And me and Rowley tried to walk away, but those guys weren't going to let us go until they saw us throw some punches. I've never been in a real fight before, so I didn't know how I was supposed to stand or hold my fist or anything. And you could tell Rowley didn't know what he was doing either, because he just started prancing around like a leprechaun. I was pretty sure I could take Rowley in a fight, but the thing that made me nervous was the fact that Rowley took karate. I don't know what kind of hocus pocus they teach in Rowley's karate classes, but the last thing I needed was for him to lay me out right there on the blacktop. Then, before me or Rowley made a move, there was a screeching sound in the school parking lot. A bunch of teenagers had stopped their pickup truck and they started piling out. I was just happy that everyone's attention was on the teenagers instead of me and Rowley. But all the other kids took off when the teenagers started heading our way. Then I realized that these teenagers looked awfully familiar. That's when it hit me. These were the same guys who chased me and Rowley around on Halloween night, and they had finally caught up with us. But before we could make a run for it, we had our arms pinned behind our backs. These guys wanted to teach us a lesson for taunting them on Halloween night, and they started arguing over what they should do with us. But to be honest with you, I was more concerned about something else. The cheese was only a few feet from where we were standing on the blacktop, and it was looking nastier than ever. The cheese is some moldy cheese from a long time ago that nobody wants to touch or pick up because they'll get cooties. So it's, or the cheese touch, as they call it. The big teenager must have caught my eye, because the next thing I knew, he was looking at the cheese too. And I guess that gave him the idea he was looking for. Riley got singled out first. The big kid grabbed Riley and dragged him over to the cheese. Now, I don't want to say exactly what happened next, because if Riley ever tries to run for president and someone finds out what these guys made him do, he won't have a chance. So I'll put it to you this way. They made Riley blank the cheese. Sputter, gasp, gag. I knew they were going to make me do it too. I started to panic because I knew I wasn't going to be able to fight my way out of the situation, so I did some fast talking instead. I would, but I'm allergic to dairy. I believe it or not, it actually worked. You're lucky, punk. I know, I know. I guess the teenagers were satisfied they had made their point, because after they made Raleigh finish off the rest of the cheese, they let us go. They got back in their truck and took off down the road. Me and Raleigh walked home together, but neither of us really said anything on the way back. I thought about mentioning to Raleigh that maybe he could have pulled out a couple of his karate moves back there, but something told me to hold off on that thought for right now. Shudder, shudder. At school today, Tuesday, the teachers let us outside after lunch. It took about 5 seconds for someone to realize what was that the cheese was missing from its spot on the black top. Everybody crowded around to look at where the cheese used to be, and nobody could believe it was actually gone. People started coming up with these crazy theories about what happened to it. Somebody said that maybe the cheese grew legs and walked away. It took all my self-control to keep my mouth shut. And if Raleigh wasn't standing right there, I honestly don't know if I could have kept quiet. And Raleigh's still alive after that, apparently. A couple of the guys who were arguing over what happened to the cheese were the same ones who were egging me and Raleigh on yesterday afternoon. So I knew it wasn't going to be long before someone put 2 and 2 together and figured out that we must have had something to do with it. Raleigh was starting to panic, and I don't blame him either. If the truth ever came out about how the cheese disappeared, Raleigh would be finished. He'd have to move out of the state and maybe even the country. That's when I decided to speak up. Told everyone that I knew what happened to the cheese. I said I was sick of it being on the blacktop, and I just decided to get rid of it once and for all. For a second there, everyone just froze. I thought people were going to start thanking me for what I did, but boy, was I wrong. I really wish I had worded my story a little differently, because if I threw away the cheese, guess what that meant? It meant that I have the cheese touch, which is like cooties. Scream, scream. Okay. June. Friday. Well, if Raleigh appreciated what I did for him last week, he hasn't said it, but we started hanging out after school again, so I guess that means me and him are back to normal. Diaper rash ahead. Bye bye, ha ha ha. I can honestly say that so far, having the cheese touch hasn't been all that bad. It got me out of doing the square dance unit in phys ed, because no one would partner up with me, and I've had the whole lunch table to myself every day. Today was the last day of school, and they handed out yearbooks after 8th period. I flipped to the class favorites page, and here's the picture that was waiting for me. Class clown. Raleigh Jefferson. Zooey Mama. All I can say is, if anyone wants a free yearbook, they can dig one out of the trash can in the back of the cafeteria. You know, Raleigh can have class clown for all I care. But if he ever gets too big for his britches, I'll just remind him that he was the guy who ate the cheese. C-H-E-E-S-E. C-H-E-E-S-E. He ate the cheese. Oh dear. About the author. Jeff Kinney is an online game developer and designer. He spent his childhood in Washington, D.C. area, moved to New England in '95. Jeff lives in southern Massachusetts with his wife, Julie, and their two sons, Will and Greg. That's cool. So that's the end. I'll be famous one day, but for now I'm stuck in middle school with a bunch of morons. Okay, so this is printed in New York. www.wimpykid.com. Okay, thank you guys so much. My page is facebook.com Yozallplay. YOSALLPLAY. Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Bye.